everyone, and welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. In today's video, we finish up the KV2 build. I've really enjoyed this build. For me, it was something other than, the smaller tanks, the light tanks, the medium tanks, like the T-34s and stuff like that. This one here was pretty hefty, considering, like I said, I'm used to doing the smaller tanks. So it was a lot of fun. The detailing with this, with it being so big, they were just they were awesome. I mean, I didn't really have to do a whole lot to add to it or anything like that. It pretty much is one of those kits you can throw together. Do your detailing to it, your washes and stuff, paint it up, do it how you do it, and it'll look good. Here, as you can see, I'm just doing some washes on there. I had already painted the hull and stuff and everything. I got that all painted, so I'm just going through here and I'm just adding some washes just to make it a little bit lighter, give some highlights to certain areas and stuff like that. It was lots and lots and lots of washes. I didn't want to take the chance of messing it up by doing it with the airbrush, because like I said, it's been a long time since I've gotten back into building. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just I'm getting back into my groove. I'm doing things that I know that I can handle, that work for me. Eventually I will, after now that I've got a few tester tanks, I'll use those to get my groove back with the airbrush, because that'll make this part of it go much easier and faster. But to be honest with you, sometimes when you just kick back and you do stuff like this with your, with a brush, it's just as fun. In fact, sometimes I might even say that it's actually more enjoyable, because you're the one controlling everything. You're taking your time. It's not a quick, okay, I got this airbrushed out really fast, and boom, it's done. I think I probably spent a total of 4, maybe 5 hours just messing around doing some washes and stuff. Here I'm using a steel gray on areas that I'm going to either rust up or where I'm going to put some chipping at and stuff like that. I'm putting it on the steel parts, of axes and shovels and hooks and all that stuff. I wanted to get that on there, because when I'm done with this, it's going to have a really heavy whitewash on it. And I'm doing that because I'm going to do a diorama using the little house back there in the back, by all that wood and stuff behind the other tanks. And I'm going to do it as a, I guess, late fall, early winter. So the whole tank's going to have the whitewash on there to give it that like frost look, like, it's first early in the morning as everything's covered with frost when you go out to your car. I want to have that look to it. So I'm wanting to get the light parts on there and stuff set up and ready to go. That way it's gonna make the effect even better, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it turned out really good myself. I will go back and forth, and I'll do this, and then I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and for some reason this gray that I'm using, I've used it before, but I've used it on a different shade of green. And so when it dried, it actually dried a lot darker than what I wanted it to. So I had to go back over it a couple of times, which, it's okay. We got it in the end. I painted the handles of the wooden part of the handles and stuff like that. I used my what was it? Iraqi sand. That's what it was. Iraqi sand. And then, believe it or not, I used the wood color from my rust. I have a Vallejo set of rust and weathering effects and stuff like that, and I used that there on the handles. So I put the Iraqi sand down, and then I went over it and used the wood color, and I think it came out pretty good. Right here, I'm going over and I'm using the track wash on the tracks and stuff like that. I used gunmetal for the tracks, and then I went over it with the rust effects, and now I'm using the track wash on it. I'm not going to go too heavy with the rusting and stuff, just because, like I said, it's going to have a really heavy whitewash on there. So most of that's going to get covered up, but some of it will bleed through, which is what I wanted. I put the actual weathering effects. It's like a really thick paint with like the static grass mixed in with it. And that stuff worked great. I put that on the running gear, and I put it in up underneath where the track covers are, side covers, whatever you want to call it. Here I'm using the streaking grime, and I'm adding that stuff in there, and I'm going to town. And the sad part is unless you're actually here and you pick it up and you look at it, you're never going to see that. I'm not a professional, so I don't have this great big huge studio with all these lights and everything where I can, pinpoint that little bitty spot way back there in the corner and, make it look like the sun. So, lesson learned. I'll get better. But I still wanted to do it anyway, just because I thought it needed it. You never know. It's supposed to have that used feel to it, I guess. So I wanted it to look like that. Worn in. Got a little bit of battle damage on it. Scratching, chipping, stuff like that from going through the brushes and everything. Like I said, here you see me adding the weathering effects and stuff. If you haven't noticed, when I put this together, I put everything on there, and I built the tracks and road wheels so I could take them off for painting and doing this stuff. I thought it would make it a lot easier, and it really did. I need to get better at it, because I did get lost a little bit and had some issues doing it. But when you try to copycat somebody like Night Shift, I guess you can't expect perfection the first time. So I learned my lesson, but I'll keep going. Here I'm going to that basket that's on the back there that's got some stowage in it. I just left. I went ahead and painted the because that's actually a metal screen. I painted it green to match the tank and stuff like that, because I figured, why not? As I'm going through here, I'm adding stuff to it, and I'm trying to. This is where it gets really hard. You got to know when to stop, and yeah, I don't know if I went too far. I don't know. I don't think I did, but I was really, really close. I'll put it that way. I feel like I was really, really close to being just a little bit too much with it. But I was just having so much fun building this kit. It really was. I don't know if you can see in the background or not. Sometimes, but if you do, you'll see the Ryfeld box for my T3485, and when I looked at it, it gave me an idea, and I was like, well, turret markings, what am I going to do for that? And so I actually, when I get going here, you'll see where I actually hand paint the turret markings on here. I chipped them up and all that stuff and weathered them so they match the tank. Here we go. Hand painting it, trying to get it to look like what's on the box back there. I think I did okay. I don't think it was too terribly bad. You know, for me, I'm absolutely loving it. It ain't got to be perfect because, in all honesty, when they painted this stuff on there, most of the time it was painted on there with a brush by hand anyway. So, you know, nothing else. I'm being actually more accurate than a decal. Decals look better, but you know, hey, whatever. But yeah, this was a really fun build. I went through watching a lot of KV2 builds and stuff like that. That's where I ran into Reimagine Models, his channel. Worth checking out if you guys ever get the chance to. Link to his YouTube is in the channel description. Yeah, this was really fun. I enjoyed it. This was not one of those overly heavy stressful builds. So yeah, it was lots of fun. Here's the last final heavy coat of the whitewash, and it was, I think it came out good in the end. So hopefully you guys do too. This was fun. I've got the next build coming up here, the T35. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, please give me a like, comment down below, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. It'll help me out when, you know, I decide to spend more money on models and stuff like that. That way there I can make more content for you. This has been a ton of fun. You guys have fun. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.